Audience feedback played an important role in the creations of my promotion package. For our trailer, my group and I decided that we were going to do a thriller crime plot. Reading our plot to our primary and secondary audiences, we established that our plot was too complex and people could not understand it, nor would it grab their attention if they were to see it as a trailer. We chose to do a thriller crime plot before even sending out our survey to people, therefore we didn't have results back to go from. We emailed out our survey to students at our school. We also put it on our Facebook pages where we each have a couple of hundred friends that were able to answer it. This led us to receive over 100 responses back from it. Feedback from this showed that mostly females answered our survey, which meant that the most popular genre happened to be rom-com chick flick. Due to putting our survey on social media, the response was from mostly 13 to 40-year-olds. Due to our plot now being different and creating a chick flick plot, it switched our audiences around. Our primary audience became teenagers and our secondary audience became adults. On various occasions we showed our trailer to our focus groups and each set came up with different ideas. The clips that introduced the male character we had 3 shots for, however one of them was of low quality and this was pointed out by one of the adults who suggested we removed it. The focus group also pointed out that some of the clips were far too long to be in a trailer, as trailers are meant to be choppy and changing and quick and fast paced. They suggested that it was also too linear as the storyline was too obvious. To resolve this issue, we decided to split the clips up and place them in more of a random order. However, we still followed the beat of the soundtrack to make it feel upbeat and lively. The focus group gave us some good feedback that we were able to take on board and develop our trailer to make it better. However, we did not take all of this on board, as some we found was more to do with personal preference rather than what they thought were conventionally correct for a trailer. One particular comment we didn't take on board came from the Year 12s and 13s that we showed our trailer to, as they were part of our primary focus group. They felt that having the titles before the characters was confusing, as it made it seem as though the characters were having each other's titles rather than their own, as, for instance, the prom queen came after the prom queen scenes but just before the rebels. People assumed that the prom queen was actually Charlie, who was supposedly meant to be the rebel. However, this was said prior to us including the voiceover, and the voiceover explained everything as it went into detail about each of the characters before then saying their names. Furthermore, having the titles before the characters wouldn't have worked because of the first character. The first character features an alarm, and this alarm would not have felt conventionally correct if it had a title before it. This was the case in trailers such as Mean Girls. Mean Girls did not put their titles for each character or the actor before they introduced the character, they put it after. We also received feedback for our poster and magazine front cover. Before this, we sent out a survey like we did with the trailer, which was created on SurveyMonkey. This contained questions such as, do you notice film posters when you go to the cinema? And the majority said yes or sometimes. This made us realise that our own film posters must be eye-catching and draw people in. We noticed a key thing that people take notice of in film posters is the ratings. I included a 5-star rating from Cosmopolitan. I chose Cosmopolitan as this is a particular magazine that is popular amongst teenage girls as well as women. Throughout the drafting process of my magazine front cover and my poster, I showed it to my peers and also my teachers as well as my family at home, therefore receiving a variety of feedback. From this, I learnt that my first draft of my film poster was very plain and that the background needed to be bolder, as originally I had it in white. An adult also suggested that the filling block should have been bulkier, as it only included a small variety of people that were involved in the creation of the film. As well as receiving feedback from our target audience, we received feedback from our secondary audience. We learnt that the adults' feedback was quite contrasting compared to the teenagers. For instance, theirs was more critical, although they did say similar things to what the teenagers said to improve on. The audience suggested that my magazine front cover needed developing. For my magazine front cover, I kept the background that the 4 characters were originally standing on. This received negative feedback from my focus groups, as they said it didn't fit conventionally. Therefore, I googled an image of a school hallway and cut the characters out and placed them on that, which made it look conventional and fitted with the school environment. Although my focus group said that I needed more font and text on the front of my magazine front cover, however, this I did not take on board. This is only because when researching Empire magazines, I found that the majority of them had very little text, if not none at all. In particular, the magazines that contained women on had very little text, and would often only give out the actor's name and a plus story inside.